Welcome to the Culture and People Cast. Today we have Adam Posner with us. Adam, in a few sentences, would you tell us who you are and what you do?
I love that question. Thank you so much for having me on. I am the founder and managing director of NHP Talent Group. We're a boutique staffing access firm located here in the great city and state of New York. And we specialize in all things digital marketing, product, creative, media, UI and UX, and marketing tech. And we specialize working with hypergrowth startups to help them accelerate their talent access strategies.
Oh, and two things I want to point out. First of all, that you use the phrase talent access. I had not heard that before or, resonated with that before. And it warms my heart because as somebody who has led talent acquisition teams where you're acquiring humans, it just feels off. So I love that phrase.
Yeah, it's a slight change. And I give credit to one of my mentors, Joe Mullings, who introduced that to me. And when he explains it so eloquently, it's, you're providing access for candidates to the opportunities and access for the clients to the greatest talent out there.
I think that's so
Yeah.
great.
I also forgot to mention I am the host of the podcast Career and Life Journeys. I forgot that. Yes.
That's right. We will make sure to put that in the show links too. And then the other thing I was going to point out, that which I think is just endearing, is how you named your company.
Yeah. So NHP Talent Group. So about 3.5 years ago, when I decided to go off on my own, I was filling out my paperwork for my LLC with my wife. And there was a section, what's the name of your company? I'm like, damn, I haven't even given it any thought. I was thinking about the Posner Group, this and that. And I'm like, you know what? And my wife said to me, she goes, what is the most important thing in the world to you? And at the time, before my son was born, I said, my daughter and Nina. And her initials are NHP, Nina Harrison Posner. So there it is, NHP Talent Group. Every time I look at my email signature, my logo, my website, my hat, my sweatshirt, anything, it reminds me of my North Star and why I do everything. And also reminds me that one day I'm going to have to name something after my son, Oliver.
Yes, Ali needs a shout out for sure. Okay. So as we build on this theme of talent access, right? Which I think goes both ways, the access for the company, the access for the candidates. What is the best thing about that work? Because you really are influencing the people and the culture in these organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's strange because before I spent 15 years working in advertising and marketing before I pivoted into the world of recruiting. And I never really felt I was making a difference. I felt that I was helping a company get an ad out, get a social media post out, delivering research or strategy or something like that. But I wasn't really helping any individuals. And I've always had that inside me where I'm a natural connector. I always see the value of connecting one person with another person, regardless if I make a penny off it, because I'm a true believer in career and life karma. Two very separate, different types of karma there, but a career like this taps into that passion of being a connector, and I think that's what it's really all about. I've been on the other side before. I've been hired, I've been fired, I've fired people, I've hired people. I've been on all those sides before, and I know what it's like, especially for folks that are struggling in their current job, to find those opportunities, and also for folks that have been laid off or fired, how to get back into the marketplace. And that's where I could really add the most value.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that helping, right, that knowing that you're providing that meaningful work and that karma is going to come back to you. I'll be interested to hear your perspective on this. We could take the COVID slant, or I think this was probably true or a problem question, at least before COVID, which is leaders thinking that engaging humans or talent is a challenge in the workplace. What are your thoughts?
That's a broad question there. And I think that, and I've had the opportunity on my show to interview lots of leaders, and it's actually been an incredible silver lining where you have a lot of these leaders, and making a broad stroke kind of assumption here. They're on the road a lot, they're traveling, they're disengaged from the actual day-to-day of their company. And the fact that everyone's grounded right now and really forcing leaders to get much closer to the line, to the day-to-day folks that are part of their organization, I think it's opening up a lot of their eyes to seeing what's great, the good, the bad, and the ugly within an organization, and really starting to affect change, and also figuring out what their core values are of an organization. Culture is not beer pong and cold brew on tap, and that culture is how employees feel within an organization. Do they feel valued? Do they feel like they have a clear career trajectory? And do they feel like they have a purpose? So this time now of the leaders having more access and time with their employees has been absolutely tremendous and eye-opening for so many of them. And we're starting to see some real progress in the right direction.
Yeah. And one of the things, I don't know about you, but one of the outcomes I hope that will happen is that there will be some maybe stepping down or opting out of leadership, right? Now that they've seen what it will take to truly engage and truly be a humanity focused leader. Not everybody who's in those roles is equipped either capability or capacity wise, right?
I
So
never even
I
thought of
hope
that
that we
angle.
see a little bit of, I hope we see a little bit of a shift. I really do, because I've
Of
looked at
course,
that for decades saying like,
trim the fat.
you shouldn't be a leader. You shouldn't be a people leader. Now you're great. You can go be a subject matter expert, but to be a people leader, that takes something extra.
One of my mentors, Claude Silver, said this when I interviewed her on my show. She said, "Not everybody is meant to lead. Not
No.
everybody is meant to lead." And there's been times in my career when I was thrown into a leadership role too young and I was never taught how to be a right leader and I wasn't a good one.
Yep.
Now I have people underneath me and I feel like I'm in a much different position to be a better leader because I've
Mm,
had the time to learn. And I'm
yep.
also in a much better mind space as well.
Agreed. Agreed. So we'll see. That's just one prediction, or maybe one hope, right?
Interesting.
So
I'm going to
let's,
bookmark that one too. I like that one, Anna.
yeah, we'll talk in a year and see if I was right. So listen, Adam, let's get tactical for the people who are watching or listening today that say, all right, you got me, right? I want to increase that talent access. I want to be a leader who's truly connected. What tactically can they do tomorrow to move the needle?
As far as leaders, how to be more connected.
Yeah, how do they create better people practices? How do they create connection? How do they move their culture?
Yeah,
Whichever direction you want to go.
it sounds so cliche and so simple, but it really comes down to listening, being an active listener.
Mhm.
How do you put your ear to the ground and listen and hear what the problems are? And this whole other thing with COVID right now, we're seeing the dynamic shift where, a lot of companies were always on site. They were always, we need to see their people because it was a trusting and insecurity thing from a lot of these people leaders. And I think the time now is really opening up for these leaders to see, you know what, I can trust my people and I could let go of some
Mhm.
of that control and I could use that time and energy to focus on myself to be a better leader, to be a better listener. And we're seeing this a lot. We're seeing a lot of transformation, as we were talking about before, in a positive way.
Yeah.
You want to be in tune with your employees. How could you help them best? And another thing too, when we think about is, new employees coming into a company, onboarding, previously new employee would come in and they'd be able to sit side by side with their boss, with their leader. They'd be able to sit next, they'd be able to shadow them. And now they can't. So now these leaders got to find new ways to train and onboard their people because ultimately their bosses are looking down on them to see how they build their own teams. So they're being
Great.
forced to innovate. So there's another silver lining here.
Yeah. I think that active listening is really important, and I love that phrase. I can trust my people. And I think what happened is at the beginning, like think back almost in Yahoo times where they were like, you can't work remote anymore because
Yahoo
we don't
times.
trust you, because honestly their performance and their culture had gotten out of hand. Okay, so they swung the
Correct.
pendulum over, it came back to the fine. But I think what happened in COVID is that a lot of leaders were so freaked out, right? They put these practices into place like butts in seats, and you need to constantly be IMing back and forth, which by the way, none of those practices are productive. But this was so awesome, Adam. We had power of the people. People started pushing back and
The
talking crap
pendulum has
about those
shifted.
companies and saying like, who's doing this? Right. And they kind of got called out on it. And then their pendulum swung to the middle.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's those practices. I'm curious, when you think about your keeping your ear to the ground, right? What's a common practice, or what's your best practice recommendation for how often a leader should connect one-on-one with their employee?
It's not always about frequency. It's about the time spent during that.
Mm,
What are the questions? Are you really listening? Are you asking questions that you think that the employee is going to give an expected answer? Like, how do you position questions well, first of all, it comes down to building an open and honest and candid canvas and environment for that conversation with no repercussions. And it's not just
yes.
saying how you are, how you doing, Anna, how's it going, but really meaning it when you say that. Really
Mm,
having a genuine interest in your employees, because that's going to build trust, that's going to build credibility. And we're not saying that everybody has to be chummy best friends with their boss here. Not at all.
mm,
But how do you create a safe space for your employees to have conversations and say, Anna, you know what? I got to tell you something. I mean, honestly, like, this is the same workload that we had before, but, I got two kids. My daughter, she's being homeschooled right now, and I've never had this before. I'm trying to get work done. I'm getting constantly interrupted in my day, and it's genuinely affecting my productivity. And I've been scared to tell you this. I've been scared to tell you this, of fear of repercussion. Like, how do you create an environment like that? That's a challenge.
right.
This is
And
2020, 21.
yeah, if people are not talking to you that way, if you are not hearing problems, then I mean, I think something's off, right? Because it's sort of that theory, like we can always do better. If you have a team of 4 or 400 or 40, there's humans involved and they're fallible and they're going to be making mistakes. There always should be something that you could do better or improve. So if you're not hearing any of those suggestions, you probably don't have the trust that's needed to get that honest
Well
feedback.
said. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if a leader lives in a bubble and thinks everything's okay,
Right.
Then all of a sudden, the crap storm comes. Like
Hmm.
if you weren't expecting that, didn't see the forecast, you got to look inwards.
Agreed. All right, let's do two quick wrap up questions here, Adam. Who else is doing good work in the ring, like culture and people moving things forward, whether it's just a shout out or maybe even a guest on the podcast?
Oh, I've had so many great ones. I think that, oh, geez, um, oh man, you put me on the spot here. I should like pull up my guest list here, but I've had some really incredible people leaders. Marsheli Bunez from Fox Corporation has been tremendous. Erica Thorson Garari from LiveRamp, Adam Hopewell, Rebecca Sharfstein, just naming off some amazing HR and TA folks. I mean, Claude Silver has been a shining star as well. Just some really amazing people have been. I've been lucky enough to have on my show. I do a lot of these talent HR roundtables, and folks are sharing how they're keeping people connected, how
Mm,
they're how and here's the greatest thing, Anna. If we go back 15, 20 years, HR was always seen as a back of the office kind of administrative function within a company. The
right.
companies now that are truly understanding it and getting that people first, always people first. People are ahead of your products. People are your company. The companies
Mhm.
that get that and are really investing into the people operations are the ones
Yep.
that are succeeding there, that understand what
Yes.
culture means. Because if you're not
Right.
investing with culture, it's just a commodity.
Yep.
It's just a functional company. Any company could do a SaaS product, but how does your company stand out? It's the people.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, thank you for those shout outs. How about favorite resources that have advanced your thinking related to culture and people practices?
It's networking. I mean, it's straight
Mhm.
up. It's old school networking and it's conversations. There's been some amazing podcasts out there. Again, I can't think of them all offline, but
Yeah.
really focused around HR, people, and culture. Andy Storch has a great one out there. There's a bunch of them that are really showcasing and bringing the light and putting that spotlight on the HR people that are always kind of in the shadows.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll make sure to link to yours too, because I do think it's a great resource. So, Adam, thank you for being a guest today. Thank you for advancing people and culture in the workplace. I just appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
Of course. Peace and progress, guys.